So hello everyone. In the previous video, we have seen the uh, various factors responsible for the passing of the Act of 1909. So we have in total we have seen the 10 factors. With dissatisfaction with the Act of 1892, uncommon suffering of the Indians, and autocratic rule of the Lord Curzon, influence of the foreign events, humiliation of the Indians abroad, which we have seen. People living in the abroad and Natal and Transvaal were treated very badly. Also, propaganda by the extremists were the one of the other region, and whose leader got became the Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Lala Lajpat Rai, and Bipin Chandra. Also, poor economic condition of India and freedom of press and propaganda helped Indians to spread their nationalism, and demand of Muslim deputation, which Britishers habitual of divide and rule accepted, and for due to this other community also started wanting their representation, and in the end we have seen the terrorist activities and the government repressions. So today we are starting with the Indian University Act of 1904, which we have seen that it was passed by the Lord Curzon, so Indian University Act of 1904, and we have seen that this act aimed for the checking of the growth of English educated class. But in the positive perspective, this was that, but it proved to be hindrance in the in Indians nationalism, because due to this act the whole universities came in the hands of the Britishers. So let's see in detail. So basically, the Indian University Act of 1900 was passed under the viceroyalty of Lord Curzon, with the objective of reforming and strengthening the structure of higher education in India. The British government believed that universities were becoming center of nationalist activity, so this act aimed to bring universities under a stricter government control while also improving educational standards. Though they wanted to increase the educational standards, and yes, we should accept that these type of things proved in the, further a step ahead in the improvement of the Indians nationalism or Indians representation. But the main aim of it was to stop the nationalist activities which were taking in the universities. And let's see what was the Official Secret Act of 1904. So basically, the Official Secret of 1904 was passed by the British colonial government in India during the tenure of Lord Curzon as the Viceroy of India. We have seen in the factor responsible for the passing of the Act of 1909. So basically, this act was amendment of the Official Secret Act of 1889 from the Britain, and was designed to strengthen laws related to state secrecy and national secrecy in the colony. So basically, in the name of the state secrecy and national secrecy, they try to stop the spread of nationalism through the newspapers. As we have seen in that earlier, the freedom of press and propaganda help spread the idea of nationalism. But Britishers realized that, and through the act of this Official Secret Act 1904, they tried to stop this information, their private information get leaked. So the primary objective of the act was to safeguard sensitive government information and prevent any leakage that could threaten British rule in India. Also, the government was granted the power to conduct searches and seizures without prior notice. This was one of the great power in the hands of the Britishers. So they can arrest without even notice if there was on the basis of the suspicion only. So the act also restricted the press from publishing sensitive government information without permission, which was viewed as a move to suppress freedom of expression. Now let's see what was Natal. So basically, Natal was a British colony established in 1843 after the British defeated the Zulu Kingdom. After defeating the Zulu Kingdom, the British colonies Natal became the British colony, and It was established in 1843. So it later became the part of the Union of South Africa in 1908. Let's see what was Transvaal. So Transvaal, officially known as the South African Republic, right now it is known as the South African Republic, ZAR, was founded by the Boers, means Africans, descendants of the Dutch settlers. They were the descendants of the Dutch settlers. It gained international attention due to its vast gold and diamond resources. It had vast gold and diamond resources, as I have said in the previous video. So, and this made this vast capacity or vast reservoir of resources made the British target this, and their ambitions increased. So now let's see what was the poll tax. So poll tax is basically related to Transvaal only. So basically it was that the poll tax in Transvaal was discriminatory tax imposed by the British colonial government after they took control over the region following the Second Anglo-Boer War. In later coming videos we will see about the Anglo-Boer War also. So basically after the Second Anglo-Boer War, the Britishers got control, and this Anglo-Boer War took place in 1899 and 1902. So after this, this tax means poll tax. So poll tax was particularly targeted at non-Europeans, immigrant, including Indians, mainly traders and who had migrated to South Africa, because they were also the peoples who have came to Transvaal for the this gold and diamond resources. So basically they were now, after the British Europeans get the control over this Transvaal, they start charging the poll tax. And the tax under this policy, every adult Indian male had to pay an annual tax of €3, and at that time €3 was a very significant amount. So, and they just paid for right to live and work in Transvaal. So this topic came under the discriminations of Indians over the abroad, where we have seen that this leads to the increase in the pace of the nationalism movement in India. So now let's see the main provision of the Indian Council Act. So what were the reforms which took place in the 1909, and this is also a feature of Morley-Minto Reforms. So we have seen that the Indian Council Act is also known as Morley-Minto Reform, because at that time Lord Morley was the Secretary of India and Lord Minto was the Viceroy. So basically after the general election of 1908, it's not an election didn't took place in India, it's the election which we are talking about is the elections that took place in India. So after the general election of 1909, Liberal Party came into the power of England, and Lord Morley was appointed the Secretary of State of India. At that time, Lord Minto was the Viceroy of India. Therefore, the Indian Council Act 1909 is also known as Morley-Minto Reforms. We have seen this. So now let's see features. What were the features of the Indian Council Act of 1909? Number one was the expansion of Central Legislative Council. So the total strength of the member of Central Legislative Council was fixed to 69, and this was a great increment. And out of these, 37 were to be officials and 32 non-officials. And of 37 officials, 28 were to be 28 were to be nominated by the Governor General, while the remaining 9 were to be ex-officials, member of the Governor General Council, means older member of the Governor General Council. And the 32 non-official members of the councils were to consist of 27 elected non-officials and 5 nominated non-officials. So to clarify, let's say main Central Legislative Council has 69 members in total, and out of those it was divided into official and non-official. Officials were having 37, non-officials were having 32. So, and officers were nominated by the Governor General. One were nominated by the Governor General, and another was ex-official members of legislature. So 28 were nominated by that Governor General, and 9 was the member of ex-official members, and out of 32 non-official members, 27 members were elected and 5 were nominated. So this was the provisions which as we have seen that if it would have come before the 1905, then it would have been a great relief for the Indian nationalism. But as the calamities and others that broke out before 1905 helped it that this relief was very small in comparison to those sufferings of the Indians. So let's see, number second provision was the expansion of provincial legislative council. So basically with central legislative council, provincial legislative councils were also increased. Members were increased in provincial legislative councils too, and Bengal legislative councils. These are the some of the numbers. So in Bengal legislative council it was 6 to 52. Madras, Bombay and UP council it was 6 to 47. Bengal and Assam council 41. Punjab council 25. Burma council 16. So basically the members of provincial legislative council were also classified into elected officials, nominated and non-officials, as we have seen here. That officials, non-officials, and out of which they were nominated, and ex-officials, elected and nominated. So they were and provincial legislative council members were also classified in this category. Number third feature of the Morley-Minto reform was the enlargement of the powers and functions of legislative council. So under the Act of 1909, the member of the legislative councils were given the right to ask supplementary question, to discuss the budget, but were not allowed to move resolution about it, nor they were given the right to vote on the budget. So let's stop seeing this point. Here you can see that under the Act of 1909, the legislative councils were given the right to ask supplementary questions, which were not given before. So, but in the end, they were not given the right to vote on the budgets. But even though it was a great sense relief, but as we know, before the act of if the calamities or various diseases would not have break out in India, then it would have been a great step taken by the Britishers in the support of the Indian self-government. So basically, certain heads of the revenue and expenditure were not open to the discussion, and except those they were allowed to discuss. And besides, the member of the council had the right to discuss and vote upon the resolution on the matter of general public importance, and the chairman of the council had the power to disallow any resolution or part of it without giving any reason. So basically जितना दिया नहीं जा रहा था उतना पावर उसे वापस ले लिया गया. We can say that in general. So for now let's stop here. In the next video we will see the fifth feature of the Morley-Minto reforms, and which is the provision of the communal electorate system. Communal सार्वजनिक and electorate means election. So